Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a which shoe for you video comparing two shoes from the brand Mount to Coast. Mount to Coast is a newer brand that started in, I think, March of 2024. A couple of partners that started out that worked for some of the large shoe designers, particularly in the foaming departments where they were experts in supercritical foam. They started the company Mount to Coast. It has had quite an advertising blitz and has been marketed to ultra marathoners. The shoes will still work for other people. They're just marketed to ultra marathoners because they're kind of designed to hold up for long distance races, make you comfortable for long distance races, and they're not necessarily made to be the most aggressive race shoe out there, but they're also known for super good durability. They're supposed to last probably 600-800 miles. I've known some people that have gotten well over 1,000 miles in their pairs, but the first one I got was the Mount to Coast R1. Got it in December of 2024, and then a few months ago I got the Mount to Coast H1. Is their hybrid shoe. So I'm going to do a comparison between the two shoes today. The R1 is meant to be their race model for the road. They also sell an S1, which is their everyday trainer, and a P1, which is their stability version. But the R1 is their race day shoe. It is pretty lightweight. It weighs like 8.5 ounces in a men's size 9. It uses their light cell foam, which is a supercritical PIBA blend foam. It uses their zero sag technology that keeps the shoe from sagging as you put in major miles. GoFlow to help kind of guide your foot through a natural movement. CPU outsole that's supposed to be very durable. Anyway, it's got a nice mesh upper. It's got the Tune Fit, the dual lacing system where you have separate laces for the top of the shoe and a pull tab for the bottom part. That allows you to adjust the shoes during a long ultra as your feet swell. You're able to loosen it up. It has a moderately wide fit, fairly wide, so when you loosen the laces you've got some room up there. I wouldn't call it as wide as an Ultra or Topo, but it is a pretty wide fit. My experience with these is that first time I got them was back in December 24. I did one 4-mile run in them, and then I took them to Snowdrop. The first day I used them, I ran 50 miles in them, and my feet felt great the whole time. I would say these are not, even though they have a PIBA blend, I would not say they're a super poppy shoe. They actually feel more soft than poppy, but the softness is just not overbearing. It doesn't break down over time, and it just is a nice, comfortable, soft feeling that stays for hours and hours, but you've still got enough reaction in them, enough rebound that you can definitely pick up the pace. I don't think it's really tuned for running super fast, but boy, they are comfortable for a lot of miles and a lot of hours. Anyway, I have really enjoyed these shoes. I've used them in some other long distance races, and I think they work great. Now moving to the H1, it's a newer model for Mount to Coast. It's their hybrid model, so you'll see it has their VersaGrip outsole, small lugs, probably 2 millimeters deep. I have found they still grip very well they still feel great on the road. They feel good on moderate trails. They feel good on like a dirt road or a gravel road. I would consider this their gravel shoe, but again, it's got the nice lightweight upper. Both these uppers have they have aramid fibers through them, which is supposed to make them really strong and hard to rip. They still breathe real well. Again, it's got the tuned fit. Both shoes have well padded heel collars and tongues. It's a little bit thinner on the H1, but it still breathes real well. Both these shoes have gusseted tongues, which really help them stay in place and wrap real well. Again, these are very comfortable shoes meant for long distance. I have not run super far in these yet, but I do think they would be real nice. Now, some of the differences, whereas this one used what they call light cell foam, which is a PIBA, supercritical PIBA blend. This one uses Circle Cell, which is also a supercritical, but it's using their proprietary materials. It uses like biofeed materials, like 20 pounds per shoe. They compress it and then nitrogen inject it. And they say it has a lot of the rebound of PIBA, but it's supposed to have twice the durability of a PIBA midsole. The geometry of the two shoes is actually fairly similar. The Mountain Coast R1 is 35 millimeters of stack height in the heel, 27 in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop. I usually don't prefer above about a 6 millimeter drop, but I will say on foot, these feel a lot like a 6 millimeter drop to me, and they feel good, so not a problem. When you go to the H1, it is a 6 millimeter drop. It's 35 in the heel, the same as the R1, but it's at 29 in the forefoot. So it's a little bit higher built up in the forefoot, and I think you can probably even see that. I would say the ride between the two shoes, this one feels a little bit more responsive, a little bit more poppy. It also feels a little bit firmer. So I do think that there's a lot of crossover in the use of these. I read somewhere that over 40 people in the Western states this year, out of the 360 that they let in, ran in the Mount to Coast R1, even in a trail race. And that's because so much of that race is pretty buffed out trails. They're still pretty good. This isn't deep lugs at all. It's meant for the road, but it worked well enough for the people running Western states because it's not real rocky or technical. I'm betting that this next year, more of them will use the H1 because it is very similar, but it does have a little bit of traction, which is very nice. My personal feel is I would still use the R1 if I was doing a really long, flat road race, just because I find the comfort is just unmatched, and it's not propelling. It's just a comfortable feel, a real comfortable underfoot feel that doesn't seem to get break down over time. And it's not really propelling me to go fast. I do not need anything to force me to go fast in an long ultra on the road. So these shoes still work great. These would probably work great in the same circumstances, but I'm kind of reserving these for when I do a race that's a mixture of road and gravel, or like I'm thinking about doing the Jackalope Jam coming up, and that's pretty much on a dirt and gravel road. These will be perfect for that. I do find these just a little bit more propulsive, but otherwise just still extremely comfortable underfoot. Anyway, I think they're both good shoes. It's kind of, like I said, it's a which shoe for you. I like them both. I have trouble recommending one or the other over the other, but I guess if you want more versatility, probably the H1. The R1 is great still for road runs, and they're both good long distance shoes. Anyway, that is my comparison of the Mountain Coast H1 and the Mountain Coast R1. If you found the video interesting, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in any more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and keep moving.